Alright, how's everybody doing today? DC Comics Reviews coming at you with not a gaming video, but a movie review, which is something I want to start doing on the channel, and it is for the Aquaman movie. To start off with, I can't give this movie enough praise in just a simple video. It is honestly one of the best superhero movies I personally have ever seen. I mean, people may consider it comparing to The Dark Knight, but honestly, I think it's just a tad bit better because The Dark Knight, for its time, was something we haven't seen before. And for this generation, Aquaman is, again, a superhero movie that you haven't seen before, but a different story because we've seen so many different stories and movies on Batman, so we knew what to expect. Yes, it was iconic, but this is a little bit different. We haven't really seen a live-action Aquaman movie before, and we got one, and honestly, it was incredible. James Wan did a phenomenal job on anything and everything that had to do with the character, Atlantis. Everything that surrounds this movie is simply perfect. And was a lot of negative reviews, but honestly, I don't get it because this is great. Everything about this movie makes sense onto why it is making as much money as it is. It's a different superhero movie that we haven't really seen before, and it's a character that nobody really knows a lot about unless you're an actual comic book fan. Me, personally, Aquaman is one of my favorite superheroes of all time, not just in DC, but both DC and its competitor Marvel. Aquaman is my top favorite superhero and storylines ever. I mean, with the New 52, it's just iconic. Now, to get into the movie, it's perfect. Visually, it is absolutely stunning. Everybody that is in this movie and put their all into this movie, whether it's visual effects, acting, music, composing, scores, everything about this movie is A+, 10 out of 10. Great movie. I mean, from Jason Momoa playing Aquaman and Arthur Curry, I mean, they couldn't have picked a better person for this role. I like him as Aquaman a little bit more than Arthur Curry, if that makes sense, but he still does a phenomenal job and is the perfect casting choice. Hats off to Zack Snyder for starting this vision for us to see an actual badass Aquaman instead of an Aquaman that is typically the joke of the Justice League and the joke hero of DC. Now, the best part, or the best anything about this movie is Mira. Amber Heard as Mira is perfect. She is portrayed so perfectly. She is in the movie, you can see she knows of her powers and everything that is to be herself as a character, being as she wants to be the Queen of Atlantis. You could tell she's going to be the Queen of Atlantis, and she's of her powers, which makes her somewhat, to me, stronger than Arthur Curry or Aquaman, excuse me. But again, she's just perfect, another perfect casting choice. You don't really see Amber Heard in that many movies, but in this movie, she is perfect casting choice of all time. And also, one of my favorite DC villains is who I'm getting to next, is portrayed by Patrick Wilson, and it is Orm, or aka Ocean Master. Now, the reason why Ocean Master, or Orm, however you want to consider him, is why he's one of my favorite villains, is because his story makes sense. There is reason and meaning behind why he is the way he is, why he feels the way he does against his half-brother Arthur Curry, aka Aquaman. And their battle for being King of Atlantis has been going on for generations. I think it was last year was the 75-year anniversary of Aquaman, and you can tell it's just ever since one of the beginning stories of Aquaman, him and Orm, aka Ocean Master, have been battling back and forth to be King of Atlantis. But the reason why Orm is such an iconic villain is because it makes sense, his story on why us surface dwellers are doing, what we are actually doing in real life and in the comics, is destroying our oceans, the pollution, garbage, trash. You see actual footage in the movie of what our really seas look like and how polluted they're getting, and it's true. It makes sense. Us in the world, we don't take care of our oceans. I mean, literally, there are garbage dumps that literally lead right into the ocean, and he makes sense. It's just, that's the reason why you can feel for him. It's a villain that you can feel for and relate to, because if you care about our environment as human, you realize that it's tearing our oceans apart, and it makes sense why he is so relatable. And Patrick Wilson, again, another, I can't say this enough, a perfect casting choice, because he has the comic book history and the acting chops to actually pull it off, and he did absolutely a perfect job. Excuse me. Now, a lot of other people's favorite Aquaman villain, and to me, I mean, yes, he is a great villain and he's perfect for the story, but to me, he's just the stereotypical villain out to seek revenge. Yes, there's meaning to him, but he's just your stereotypical villain, and that is portrayed by Yahya Mateen, and he portrays Black Manta. Now, I do love Black Manta. Do not take what I just said wrong at all. I love Black Manta. His story it's good story, but the way he's portrayed in the comics and he's just that stereotypical villain, the same villain you see in a lot of comic books, just out to seek revenge and kill the hero that did something to his family. Now, in the movie, I like Black Manta a lot more than I do in the comics, because his backstory in the movie made more sense than it has in the comics, because of how many different people have tried to do the history and backstory of Black Manta. Now, there is a storyline in the comics with the New 52 where it's all about Black Manta, and it's during the Aquaman solo line. They have an Ocean Master one too, which is pretty good, but the Black Manta issue is what made me start to actually enjoy Black Manta and get where he's coming from and everything that surrounds him. So, basically, I mean, just everything about this movie is just perfect. I can't say that enough. From Zack Snyder casting Jason Momoa to getting him through Justice League and into his own solo movie is just perfect. James Wan took what everybody thought was going to be the biggest flop of DC Extended Universe and made it the biggest soon-to-be DC movie of all time. And any movie that has come out of DC, Aquaman, will be the biggest selling. I mean, if you think about it, as of today, right now, it has grossed over $1 billion. It is literally sitting at $1,020,261,781, which means it has passed The Dark Knight and is, I think, it is 60 million away from outgrossing The Dark Knight Rises, which will make it DC's highest banked box office movie. And if you think about it, who would have thought not to me, but to a lot of people, as you've seen from shows and cartoons, Aquaman's always been the joke of DC, the joke of Justice League. And with Zack Snyder and James Wan making him into what he is now, which is going off of the New 52 and making him the badass I think Aquaman is, and how I've always viewed Aquaman, is just amazing. And I can't watch this movie enough. The rewatchability to it is just as good each time you see it as when you first watched it. And the influences from this is just iconic. The New 52 Aquaman line, the Justice League Throne of Atlantis storyline, even going off of the DC animated movie Throne of Atlantis. And there's certain political attributes that they brought into this movie that I think they pulled from the new DC Universe Rebirth line that make it just perfectly. They just sprinkle a little bit throughout. And there are certain pages in the comic books. This is how good of a director James Wan is. And there's certain times in this movie that you can pause the movie, even though you watched it in theaters. You can literally pull the exact vision from the movie into the exact page it is on a comic book. And I think that is amazing. Perfectly way to make a comic book movie. Not a lot of comic book movies really do that these days, and I think James Wan and everybody in the visual effects department of this movie did a perfect job. Now, I don't want to make this video too long, as being it's already 11 minutes long. I want to give my final thoughts. Honestly, this movie is great. Everybody knows it's going to get a sequel. I'm so excited that this movie did and is doing as good as it is, because it gives Warner Brothers and everybody something to look forward to now that the DCEU has kind of rebirthed itself and rebooted itself. Yes, they did good with Wonder Woman, but everything else has not really been critically reviewed well. But this has kind of made way for the future of the DCEU and everything that's coming up with Shazam, Wonder Woman 84, the solo Joker movie for DC Dark, and also Birds of Prey, which is something I'm interested to see. And everybody knows there's going to be a sequel. And something I would like to see in the sequel is a little bit more with Aquaman and Mira, and them actually maybe starting a family, maybe having a baby, or maybe bringing in Aqualad. That'd be really interesting. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this video right there and just say I loved the movie. I've seen it multiple times and I can't see it enough, and I can't tell you enough how much I have loved this movie. To me, it is my favorite movie that has ever really came out of DC, opposite of the Tim Burton Batman movies and Batman Returns. This is hands down one of my favorite comic book movies ever. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you got, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel for more videos coming soon, whether it be gaming videos, movie reviews. I'm going to start doing comic book reviews too. And, yeah, subscribe to the channel. Comment your opinions down below. What did you guys think of Aquaman? What future DC movie are you interested in, excited to see? And also, just your opinion on who your favorite superhero is. It doesn't matter if it's Marvel or DC. I enjoy all comic books. I hate how there's such hate between DC and Marvel. I think both are good. Yeah, I prefer DC over Marvel. That doesn't mean I hate Marvel. But enough rambling on. Excuse me. Again, make sure to like the video. If you want to dislike it, that's fine. Subscribe to the channel. Comment your opinions down below. And I hope you guys have an amazing day. And if you can, just go out and watch Aquaman again. Support the movie. Let's try to make it bigger than The Dark Knight Rises. Thank you for watching and hope you guys have a great day. Peace.